Hey guys, allPRO here with allPRO Sports Performance, here to bring you this week's 2019 KDF Marathon Strength Training Program. And here we have this week's two workouts. On the left we have a little higher volume strength workout, and on the right we have a little lower volume but with some landing mechanics and some plyometrics mixed in. And remember, if you have any questions about any of these exercises or specifics, just email me. I'll provide it in the description below. And on to our first workout. Our first exercise, we have a goblet squat. Now if you don't have a weight, you can just do them without any weight. Keys here are keep the weight through your heel, your big toe, your little toe. Keep the chest as upright as possible. And then start the squat from your knees first. That way it lets you keep your chest as upright as possible. And really you should be going down as far as possible. I'm kind of being gingerly here. I have a pretty badly sprained right ankle. Up next we have a hamstring curl. Now if you don't have a stability ball, like I've said before, you can just do this on some linoleum or hardwood. You're going to have your feet up on the ball, dig those heels into the ground, and pull that ball as far back as possible. You should feel some in the back of your thigh, and if it starts to feel like you're going to cramp up, really just stop the exercise. It's not worth it to cramp up this early. Third, we have a hip thrust. Now we're going to use a ball here instead of a bench or a chair. Keys here, you want to tuck your chin, keep your knees about 90 degrees as you get to the top of the movement, and really press your belly button down instead of arching the back. This is going to help you kind of squeeze the glutes more instead of using your low back to drive the movement. We're looking for the hamstrings and glutes to work, not your low back. Now you're going to want to bend from the hips, keeping the low back flat. Drive the elbows back to the side and squeeze the shoulder blades. Now an easy thing to do is to use a mirror, and what you should really see is a straight line from your hip to your shoulder. There shouldn't be any curving in your back really. Alright, and up next we have an overhead press. Now here I'm using a band. If you have dumbbells, please feel free to use them because it's going to be easier to set it up. Notice my elbows are coming in front of the body and I'm pressing straight up over the shoulder itself. I'm not pressing out in front like some people have a tendency to. And make sure that you're coming all the way down. Elbows should really come below the shoulder joint. I like to have my hands and my chin as a reference point. And on to our first core exercise. It's a variation on the dead bug that we've already done. Now here we're really just using a band to give a little bit of resistance. Notice that my knees, they're past my hips. My low back is flat and my hands are just straight up to the sky. Now some keys that we worked on before, the low back shouldn't round out, and we're really trying to press that belly button down to the ground as best as possible. And for our last exercise of the workout, we have a stability ball toe tap. Now if having the ball at your ankles like I have mine here is too difficult, move it up to about your knee or even at the thigh. That's going to make it quite a bit easier. Now what we're trying to accomplish here is keep the hips as level as possible, tap to the ground, and then come right back to neutral. And then if the tap is actually too hard, I have a little variation here, which is just a plank with a leg lift on the ball. It's still really freaking tough. Alright, first exercise on workout 2, we have forward and sideways step-ups. Now I'm using a 12-inch step, but you can go higher or lower here. Now you're going to drive through that heel on the foot that's up. You don't have to bring it down every time. And notice that I'm using my other leg to come up, drive to the sky, and hold for a second. I do lose my balance a little bit, but I just put my big toe down to stabilize. Now if you do use some weight, if you're using your right foot, I like to put mine in my offhand, my left hand. Now onto our plyometric exercise, we have some vertical jumps. Now notice that I'm being a little gingerly on that left ankle, so yours should look quite a bit better than mine do right here. Now when I take off and when I land, I'm keeping my knees pushed apart. When I go to take off, I'm trying to push through my big toes, and I'm trying to extend all three, my ankle, my knee, and my hip. Some pretty big keys here. I use a big arm swing on my takeoff, and then when I go to land, I'm trying to land as soft as possible. Alright, and up next, probably one of the most important exercises for any runner, some lateral band walks. Now, I have the band around my knee, I'm pushing my knees apart, keeping my toes forward, and I'm not waddling side to side. I'm trying to stay right where that says sports performance. I'm not deviating too much up and down as I step each time. And this is one of those exercises that really is easy, but it's really easy to also compensate and not use the muscles that we're trying to use, which are our hips. Alright, and on to our upper body work. Now, I'm using a band to do this chest press. Again, if you have dumbbells just like the last workout, I highly recommend just using some dumbbells, even if they're pretty light. Notice that I'm pressing straight up. My elbows come towards the side of my body, not flaring out like some people do with their push-ups. That's really important so that we save those shoulders later on. And again, some of you stronger people, you're probably going to need 2 bands or so. And up next, we again have a row. Now we are standing here, so we're going to get a little shoulder rotation. Notice that I have my opposite foot forward, and that band is really, it's anchored pretty low. It's almost at my feet. And here you can actually see I'm pulling that elbow back, but really it's not going too far past my body. Really, I'm just trying to focus on pulling the elbow and squeezing the shoulder blade. Going farther with the elbow doesn't make it any better. Alright, and on to our core. We have an oblique rotation. So I'm just going to stand with both feet pointed forward. I'm going to take that band, and the key is to really turn the shoulders. I'm not trying to take my hands and just move the hands. I'm trying to rotate the shoulders so that my core actually does the work to move my upper body. If you're doing enough of these, the sides of your stomach are just going to be on fire. And last for workout 2, we have a plank with a leg lift. Now it's just your regular basic plank, but you're trying to lift that leg up, really squeeze your glute. Notice that my hips aren't rotating at all. They're staying completely level with the ground, and that's really important so that we work the muscles that we're really trying to work. And if you really want to punish yourself, notice that I moved my elbows forward. That's going to make it a long lever plank with a leg lift. They are incredibly tough. Alright guys, that wraps up the KDF Marathon Strength Training Program for week 4. I hope that you've been following along, getting stronger through this past 4 weeks. And if you have any questions, please email me. I'm going to link it in the description below. And keep up that hard work. The first 4 weeks is definitely the most difficult. If you have a minute, comment below and let me know how you've been doing with this. Thanks guys.